The last 6 years for most of us have been filled with excitement, frustration, hard work, and dedication. We have struggled and succeeded together, and the time has finally come to start the next chapter of our lives. It is my pleasure to welcome families, friends, faculty, and my fellow graduates to Mardela's 2020 graduation. We have finally made it. Thank you to everyone who has helped us get where we are today. We would not be here without you. You go to that little school, Mardela? I've been asked this question countless times throughout my middle and high school career. Yes, I go to that little school, Mardela. The school where your teachers become your family and you can feel safe going every day. The school where I met some of my best friends of 6 years. We may be known as the little school, but we make a big impact on our students, especially myself. The teachers at Mardela are not ones you would find at any other school. Mardela's teachers come to work every day, ready to do the most and put the maximum amount of effort needed into their teaching. Aside from teaching, our teachers always seem to be at the right place when you're going through a tough time. Looking back at all my past teachers at Mardela, I can name a few nice things about each one of them. I focus on talking about our teachers because I feel like if I went to a different school, I wouldn't have received the teaching offered at Mardela, and it has truly been my biggest takeaway while attending our school. The teachers at Mardela are just simply wonderful. I walked into my 11th grade classroom every day saying, "Sup, L-Dog?" and making the best jokes with my calculus teacher this year. The student-teacher relationships are so special and valued here. Getting to learn in the most relaxed atmospheres have helped my education in so many ways. I would have been able to succeed and now graduate, and I did it all in the best way possible. I did it here. To my fellow graduates, congrats, guys. The day is here. It is time for us to start on the path to pursue our dreams. No matter the challenges that lie ahead, never give up on what you've already worked so hard for. Keep your chin up, put on a smile, and keep that 2020 vision.
Good evening, families, friends, teachers, and my fellow classmates of Mardela Middle and High School. My name is Caitlin Haymauer, Secretary of the Class of 2020. Many of our parents decided to immerse us into a school that had students with goals, higher than average test scores, and teachers that genuinely cared about the students. I think that parents and peers can all agree that Mardela did just that. When writing my appreciation speech, I asked myself, how can I show my gratitude to those who helped me throughout my high school years, and to those who pushed me and my peers to be the best version of ourselves we could be? I realized that what we appreciate most is a sense of community and family at Mardela. The community at Mardela does not come in comparison with those of other schools. Coming here as a new kid, I genuinely thought I was going to eat my lunch in a bathroom stall. Yet, a group of girls who now are some of my closest friends immediately welcomed me, a stranger, into their friend group. This type of love and community gave me my first glimpse into what Mardela had in store for me. All of the teachers that my peers and I have come in contact with have tried their hardest to make sure we are doing the best to our ability as a student. To just name a few examples of the care these teachers had for us, include one teacher buying an AP class Dunkin' Donut gift cards, knowing that the 9 kids in that class frequented there often before their long days, while other teachers handed out literal pie on National Pie Day. In addition to these acts of kindness, the teachers at Mardela cared about our future after high school. Teachers throughout our senior year helped my peers and I with scholarships and acceptance into the colleges that we have always dreamed of, through gracious letters of recommendation and much needed motivation to help push us through to the end of an elaborate essay, no matter how treacherous. I can genuinely say that the teachers at Mardela pushed us to succeed and played a huge role in why many of us are continuing in education in the fall. For the teachers that I had the pleasure to see every day, thank you. In addition to the extraordinary staff, I know that the Mardela class of 2020 would not be where it is today if it were not for the amazing support we received from the students' families as well. We thank you for showing up at the sporting events, the long band concerts, which hopefully drastically changed from the attitude middle schoolers that we were to the well-articulated, harmonious high schoolers that we have become. Thank you for sitting through 4 years of Warriors Challenge with my peers and I screaming in your face to let us be a part of a game. Thank you for getting us ready in the mornings and sending us off to school. Thank you for being there when we cried about petty school drama and bad grades. The families that make up Mardela have been there for the good and the bad. and I hope that you all will continue to be there to support us through this next chapter in our lives. Not one of us thought this is how our graduation would go. Yet here we stand, not in one room together, but in separate rooms across Wicomico County. On March 13, 2020, which just so happened to be Friday the 13th, we were told we'd be out of school for 2 weeks. It never crossed my mind that it would be our last time stepping foot in Mardela, but yet it was. I'm sure that March 13th being our last day to talk to our teachers is still shocking to us all. There are so many words I wish I could have said to my peers and administration while walking those halls that I now will never have a chance to do. We were pushed out of Mardela, deprived of a goodbye, and a chance to say thank you to the wonderful staff that we encountered over our years at Mardela. Although this truly is the most unique, extraordinary, and unconventional way for one's years of school to come to an end, I'm sure it has brought us to all understand life in a new light and to appreciate Mardela in ways never thought of. I'm sure we have also come to miss it much sooner than we ever believed. Although during our high school years we did not appreciate much, if we have not already realized how blessed we were to attend such a great school, we will eventually come to appreciate all Mardela had to offer us. We will appreciate the relationships we had with our teachers and our peers, the rush lunch conversations that were full of unnecessary drama, or maybe even the friend-ending Uno games. We will miss school dances, and maybe, just maybe, we will miss the constantly breaking down septic tank that started all of our days off with a terrible smell. We will come to appreciate long practices, whether for a sport, band, play, or some other extracurricular. In the future, we will all ponder on our best memories, as I hope we do now. One of my best memories being from the math team, which I know makes me sound like such a nerd, but I believe my classmates and I all truly loved it. Getting last in literally every competition was more than unfortunate, but I know we will always cherish those moments together, and I think anyone who attended these meets can say that the best part of them was the never-ending free food. As I have shared my memory, I hope we can all think of our own, and as I will always laugh about mine, I hope you also will laugh about yours. I am sad to say our years were cut short, but it has taught us to all appreciate and cherish our time together that much more. Thank you to those who make up Mardela for giving me and my classmates a memorable high school experience and a great send-off into the next chapter of our lives. Thank you.
This year's academic reflection speaker has attended Mardela for the past 4 years and has been involved in a plethora of activities during her time here. She was the Hugh O'Brien representative for our school in 2018. She has been her class vice president for 2 years while participating in many extracurriculars. She took part in SGA, math team, debate club, Red Cross Club, kindness club, mentoring, and the opioid awareness team. Additionally, she has stellar academics, allowing her to graduate summa cum laude, with membership in the National Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, the National Society of High School Scholars, and the National Spanish Honor Society, while being this society's president for the past 2 years. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Olivia Cantwell as the Class of 2020's Academic Reflection Speaker.
This whirlwind of a year has taught us so many things. It has proved to us that life can be changed so quickly that it can knock you back and sweep you off your feet, that the unthinkable can happen, and it can happen rapidly. I've learned to find the positive in every situation and to live life day to day. The fact that the nation was basically shut down for months after a disease entered the United States in a span of just a few weeks shows us nothing can be predicted. We went from going to work every day, eating out, and living life carelessly, to wearing masks, gloves, being under stay-at-home orders, and losing our sense of normalcy. The classic saying, live life to the fullest, is not always possible. Instead, I say live life unforgettably and live life positively. When I look back on this in the future, I will remember being an essential employee and still getting to work in a pandemic. I will remember slowing down from my fast-paced life and spending more time with my family. You obviously cannot live to the fullest in a quarantine, but yes, you can live unforgettably. Live life where every day is a memorable one. Make each day enough in the sense that you can take something away from every single day. Try to see all the good in things. It will help create a happier lifestyle. A positive mindset will take you much farther in life than a negative one. Be confident in all you do and always go after what you want. Life cannot be something we expect to go our way. As we progress into our future, we will always be making an impact on those around us. Make sure the impact you make is the one that will not be forgotten, because the moments we are given can easily be taken away. Appreciate the present, because the future is never promised.
Good evening. My name is Abria Gunther, and I'm the class of 2020 historian. After many long years, the class of 2020 is officially done with high school. Many of our journeys began at Mardela as little sixth graders who had absolutely no idea of what we were in store for, to us now, still having no idea of what's to come, but ready to branch off into the world. Once we leave here today, we are moving on to the next chapters of our lives. The amount we have accomplished over the past 4 years are memories that are worth talking about. Here are some highlights from our journey. Our sports team over the years have had a considerable amount of accomplishments. Our unified tennis team in 2017 and 2018 placed third at district tournament, earning medals. The strength and conditioning team in 2018 were state champions, and they also, in 2019 and 2020, obtained second place at the state tournament. Our girls soccer team in 2018 won against Snow Hill in playoffs, as well as in 2019, when they won against Cambridge South Dorchester at sectional semifinals. In 2018, Jenna Fox made first team for Baysides, and in 2019, Camilla Flagg made first team. For our boys soccer team, Jacob Shelton, Colton Lanham, and Jacob Long were recognized for their hard work with being awarded honorable mention in 2019. For indoor track, Jacob Shelton and Kyle Hubbard qualified for states in 2019 as well as in 2020, where Jacob Shelton finished third in the state meet. In 2020, the indoor 4x2 relay consisting of 3 seniors also advanced to the state meet. In 2019, our baseball team were Bayside South Division champs, as well as Bayside Conference and regional runner-ups. As juniors, Ethan Peterman was first team Bayside, and Jacob Shelton was second team Bayside. Ethan was also awarded second team Bayside his sophomore year. Our softball team in 3 seasons combined for 55 wins, along with being the 1A East regional champions in 2017, and in Bayside Conference champions in 2018. As freshmen, Alexa Jones and Riley Niblett were second team Bayside, as well as first team Bayside their sophomore and junior years. Megan Caputo was second team Bayside her sophomore and junior year, and Grace White was second team Bayside her junior year and honorable mention her sophomore year. Clay Cox, Brene Marshall, and Nicholas Hicks won the Skills USA local competition in 2020. Our school also achieves high in our musical talents. Our marching band has won numerous competitions over the years, such as the Pocomoke, Cambridge, and Salisbury Christmas parades. Our seniors were also able to be the Sweet State winners at Apple Blossom in 2017, 2018, and 2019. In our orchestra, Alexis Kottman, Kelsey Flores, and Abigail Shockley made it into the first violin section of Wicomico All-County Orchestra, which features the top students in all Wicomico middle and high schools. Alexis Kottman also got the opportunity to perform for the First Lady of Maryland at an art exhibit held as the House of Delegates in Annapolis. On a more social note, our homecoming court this year consisted of Jasmine Bowen, Makai Bratton, Taylor Cordry, Matthew Guy, Joey Hayden, Jacob Long, Tiana Staten, and Kaylee Scherner, with Matthew Guy and Kaylee Scherner crowned homecoming king and queen. Our prom court this year consisted of Makai Bratton, Matthew Guy, Haley Hall, Kaylee Scherner, Jacob Shelton, and Tiana Staten, with Jacob Shelton and Haley Hall crowned prom king and queen. Over the past 4 years of high school, we've done so much that we should all be proud of. Sadly, our year was not able to be completed, but we are still the class of 2020. So with that being said, congratulations, Mardela seniors, we have officially made it.
Good evening. Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. That quote could not be any truer right now. With so much uncertainty in the world, nobody could have foreseen our senior year being cut short, nor could they have foreseen losing so many memorable events. Now, looking back, each of us can surely see that we will never give value to a moment in time until it becomes a cherished memory. For many, last year's events were not recognized as memories. Nobody would have known that it would be the last softball, baseball, outdoor track, or bocce ball season. Additionally, nobody credited last year's Apple Blossom Festival as their last. However, we can't look back at our time at Mardela with melancholy. Instead, we must be positive about the memories we were blessed with. We can look back now and appreciate the memories we made through sports, classes, music, and time with friends. Likewise, we can now see how each moment in time impacted us not only as students, but people. Throughout our time here at Mardela, each of us have had to make a plethora of decisions. What classes to take, what sports to play, what clubs to join, and even who to befriend. Going through high school, we never really noticed the weight that each decision carried, as it was just a point in time. For those of you who played sports, you never really noticed the significance of a moment. You were just playing the game. It was only after you made the diving catch or scored that goal that you realized the significance of a moment, because at that point, it was no longer just a moment in time. In fact, it was now a memory. For those of you who volunteered throughout high school, you never really thought about the importance of that moment until it was over. It was only after you volunteered that you realized the impact you made, because it was no longer just a moment, but it was a memory. You see, everything you have done here at Mardela will become a memory. Your first homecoming, prom, and so on. It all has significance, and it shaped you into the person you are today. Looking back at our academics, you can see how each moment has impacted us. Although some of us might be undecided on what we will do after graduating, most of us have had a general idea about what we want to do in life. For some, it will be college. However, some will go into the military or workforce. This wasn't a random decision. Through a complex timeline of events, and somewhere along the line, a moment in time created this decision. For those of you who know what their major will be in college, you probably never thought about why you want to major in that study until now. Only now will you look back and realize the value of our academics at Mardela. It was because of math team that I started to enjoy math. I never really thought about it until now, because only now is it a memory. This quote is not only perfect for our time here at Mardela, but perfect for life in general. When we leave high school, you will be entering the real world. Your decisions will not only impact your life, but the lives of others as well. So, as you move through life, always look back and see how each moment will impact you. See the significance in each moment, but most importantly, have fun, because you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory.
Seniors, parents, relatives, friends, board members, administrators, teachers, staff, and community members. It is my tradition to share my commencement comments each spring through a favorite book with a compelling message that speaks to me and would be meaningful for our seniors at this important milestone. And while this year is far from traditional, my love of literature and the messages found within continues. I usually go through many options to find just the right one with the right message. Several weeks ago, I picked up this book and looked no further. Charlie Mackesy has written and illustrated a modern fable titled The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse that is inspirational and provides the hope we all need in these uncertain times. The author brings together these four strangers to share universal lessons on friendship, kindness, optimism, and as one reviewer suggested, a wonderful look into the human heart. Thank you to my colleague Andrea, who gave me this beautiful book this past winter. Neither of us knew how our lives were about to be turned upside down. No one had any idea how our circumstances would change so dramatically as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, making the human heart so much more visible and vulnerable. Just as these characters have done in Mackesy's book, we've faced adversity on life's journey and have had the opportunity to ponder many questions. While doing so, we've learned about the importance of connections and courage and hope, and have found our own silver linings. The characters represent different parts of being human. The boy is inquisitive. The mole is enthusiastic but greedy. The fox has been hurt, so is withdrawn from life and slow to trust, but he wants to be part of the world. The horse represents the deepest, wisest part in us, our soul. Together they share universal feelings familiar to us all. Especially in this time, I found this look into the human heart and spirit to be reassuring. Seniors, you came into this world on the heels of the 9/11 tragedy and the war on terrorism, and you have very sadly ended your senior year in a way that is stranger than any of us could have ever imagined. I feel your disappointment. Our high school years are some of the best times of our lives, and I hope you'll treasure the many memories you have of spending time with friends, attending athletic events, going to dances, performing in concerts and musicals, and of course, learning in the classroom. It devastates me that this important time in your lives was cut short before senior prom and the traditional commencement. We know that this virtual graduation can't replace what you've lost, but a huge life lesson is that some things cannot be changed and you learn to turn adversity into promise. As the mole in the fable tells us, one of the greatest illusions in life is that it's perfect. My hope is that, like the characters in Mackesie's fable, you will grow stronger in spite of these challenges. You will be more resilient as a result of the disappointments you've faced, and you will see your own optimism, courage, and connections with those you love strengthened exponentially. The author engages the reader through beautiful illustrations, through the building of their unlikely friendships as they interact, learn to trust one another, and discover what's important in life, and through questions that they pose to one another as they travel together in what might be considered life's path. And every question is worth pondering. The inquisitive boy asks near the beginning of his journey with the mole, "What do you think success is?" And the mole responds, "To love." A bit further, the boy asks, "What do you think is the biggest waste of time?" And the mole responds, "Comparing yourself to others." Most old moles I know wish they had listened less to their fears and more to their dreams. Further along the way, the mole asks, "What is your best discovery?" And the boy responds, "That I am enough as I am." Later, after meeting both the fox and the horse, when their friendship and trust have grown, the boy asks, "What do we do when our hearts hurt?" And the wise horse, who represents our soul, suggests, "We wrap them with friendship, shared tears, and time, till they wake hopeful and happy again." And my favorite provocative question posed by the boy is, "What's the bravest thing you ever said?" And the astute horse responds, "Help." And he goes on to tell the boy that he is his strongest when he's been willing to show his weakness. That asking for help isn't giving up, it's refusing to give up. And that is indeed a very powerful lesson, especially during these challenging times. I can honestly tell you that as superintendent, I haven't always wanted to ask for help, because I assume that others need to see that I am always brave and confident in leading Wicomico County Public Schools. If I have learned anything during this time, it is the importance of relying on my team, every teacher, staff person, board member, and administrator, and my colleagues across the state. And because of my willingness to ask for help, I am stronger. We are stronger as a school system, and relationships have strengthened in the most unlikely places, just as with the characters in Mackesie's fable. And I've gotten a more intimate look into the human heart as I have read and responded to notes of desperation from parents who are really struggling. And when those parents have shown their bravery by asking for help, our staff have reached out with such compassion and understanding, a true testament to our love and concern for the well-being of our students and families. Just as in the fable, when the boy falls in the river and his friends save him, the horse reminds the others that everyone gets scared, but it's less scary together. So what does all this have to do with you today as you become graduates of Wicomico County Public Schools? Everything. Remember when earlier this school year you couldn't wait for this year to be over, for high school to be done? None of us participating in or watching this virtual commencement ceremony will ever forget the importance of not taking what we have for granted. You have arrived at this milestone despite a suddenly rocky road in your last 2.5 months. But as the wise horse shares with his newfound friends, when the dark clouds come, keep going. Travel on in spite of the obstacles and the rough terrain. When the big things feel out of control, focus on what you love right under your nose. Dance in the rain. The storm will pass. On behalf of Wycomico County Public Schools and the 7-member Board of Education, congratulations on all of your accomplishments as you transition from seniors to high school graduates. We wish you the best and hope that you realize all of your hopes and dreams and plans for the future.
Good evening, Dr. Hanlon, Mr. Brown, Mr. Palmer, Ms. Gardner, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Ball, family, friends, and our 2020 graduates. The ending to your high school experience was anything but predictable. I am sorry that I can't shake your hands, give you high fives, or hug you, but what I can do is brag on you. 20% of you have committed to joining the workforce immediately after graduation. 28% of you have committed to attending trade schools or 2-year colleges. 44% of you have committed to attending a 4-year university, and 8% have committed to serving in our police force or the United States Armed Forces, with 2 of you signing to attend military academies this fall. That is something to celebrate. Your futures are bright, and that's thanks to your hard work in the classroom. 11% of you are graduating summa cum laude, 16% are graduating magna cum laude, and another 16% are graduating cum laude. And yes, as I say every year, there are a few of you graduating more like thank you, laude. As I reflected on what I wanted to share tonight, my mind kept coming back to our current situation. We are truly seeing history being made right in front of us. As a former history teacher, I have to tell you, that's exciting. Your children and my grandchildren will study this time when they are sitting in history class. This led me to reflect on some of my favorite historical figures. I thought about people like Harriet Tubman and her choice to escape slavery and her leadership in the Underground Railroad. Abraham Lincoln and his leadership during the Civil War. Franklin Roosevelt and his experience during the Great Depression and World War II. Harry Truman and his decision that he made to use the atomic bombs to end World War II. Rosa Parks and her choice to remain seated. George W. Bush and his leadership during the events of September 11th. And my hero, Frederick Douglass, who chose to teach himself how to read, to escape slavery, and to become a tireless advocate for the abolition of slavery. I asked myself what these historical revolutionaries have in common. The first thing that I see is that none of them ever asked for the difficult circumstances that they faced. Douglass and Tubman did not choose to be born into the horrible system of slavery. Roosevelt did not ask that Japan attack Pearl Harbor. Yet these situations were placed upon them. None of you had any say in the fact that we would be living through a pandemic. None of you made the social distancing or school closure decisions, but you have had to deal with them. In life, you will face other situations that you would have never chosen for yourself, but the way you handle these situations will help shape your character and forge a lasting impression on those around you. The second thing that I see amongst all these history makers is that they could have chosen to keep things the way they were. They could have simply elected to maintain the status quo and keep living their lives in their current circumstances. Bush could have decided to ignore rather than respond to Al-Qaeda. Rosa Parks could have given up her seat. These leaders could have kept the status quo and just sat back and complained about their situations. But instead, they did something about it. How are you dealing with our current situation? Are you complaining, or are you choosing to make a positive difference in the lives of others during this shutdown? Have you practiced kindness and encouraged others who are feeling down? In life, you will face many forks in the road where you will have to decide whether you're going to ignore a situation or face it head on. Each of the historical figures that I've mentioned chose courage rather than fear. Harriet Tubman chose to risk her life to escape her life of slavery and then continued to choose courage by rescuing others. Abraham Lincoln chose to fight to keep our nation whole while still addressing our shortfalls. You have been given the option of choosing courage. Fear is often easier to choose because it goes along with the masses. Winston Churchill said, "Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision." Fear is a natural emotion. I am challenging you to decide to use your fear to fuel your courage. We are living through scary times, times that have completely altered the way we were used to living. Use the fear that this has created to allow you to live in courage. Step out and make a difference in others' lives. Take risks, even if you might fail. It is only through living in courage that you will experience success and joy. These history makers all faced very vocal critics. When Harry Truman chose to use the atomic bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, he knew that he had a lot of people who did not support him. To this day, in history classes all over our country, people debate on whether he made the right decision or not. He chose what he felt was the best decision for our country. In life, you will face critics. One piece of advice that I was given long ago is one I'd like to share with you now. You should treat criticism and compliments like chewing gum. Chew on it for a while and then spit it out. What do I mean by this? When you receive criticism for choosing courage and taking a risk, listen to it, reflect on what has been said. Use the criticism that is constructive and valid, but don't let that criticism define you. Don't let it extinguish the passion that you have inside of you to make a difference. In the same way, don't allow compliments to inflate your ego. Accept those compliments and then move on from them, because there is always more growing that we can do. These historical figures relied on experienced advisors. Before declaring war, each of the presidents that I've named relied on people with experience in war to advise them. Frederick Douglass worked with other abolitionists before he was ready to go out on his own. When you choose to live a life of courage, rely on people with experience. Yes, it's always good to share your thoughts and plans with your friends, but it is even more important that you share your plans with people with experience who will be able to help you along the way. Seek out advice from experts who will help to guide you along the right path. So I ask you, are you a history maker? Have you chosen a life of courage over fear? Are you ready to accept criticism and compliments in the same manner? Do you have people with experience who are willing and able to speak into your life and advise you on the best course of action? I'd like to end tonight with a quote from Maya Angelou, who said, "My wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. So go out, be strong and courageous, show kindness in everything that you do, and never let anything, even a global pandemic, keep you down. Instead, be a history maker. Live your dreams, explore the world, and always keep Mardela in your heart. Once a warrior, always a warrior." Thank you. Therefore, Dr. Hanlon, in recognition of the records and achievements of the students of this class, and by the virtue of the authority vested in me as principal of Mardela Middle and High School, I certify that these students have met the graduation requirements established by the Maryland State Board of Education and the Wicomico County Public School System. Accordingly, it is my pleasure to recommend and present to you for the conferring of diplomas the graduating class of 2020.
Mrs. Hastings, in recognition of the records and achievements of the students of this class, and by the virtue of the authority vested in me as superintendent of Wicomico County Public Schools, it is my pleasure to certify and accept for the conferring of diplomas the graduates of Mardela High School, class of 2020. Congratulations.
Tiana Alexis State. Olivia Jocelyn Cantwell. Matthew Christopher Guy Jr. Dorothy Caitlin Haymauer. Abria Vinay Gunther. Miranda Angela Abrams. Kevin Scott Ayers. Caden Gage Bateman. Alexandria Marie Ann Bellamy. Haley Taylor Bennett. Jasmine Renee Bowen. Mackay Edward Brett. Megan Elizabeth Caputo. Madison Dawn Carew. Sarah Elizabeth Chapman. Taylor Elizabeth Cordry. Alexis Simone Cotman. Clay Daniel Cox. Bobby Kate Crouch. Peyton Franklin Daniel. Evan Andrew Darby. Nashawn Jaquez DeShiel. Christopher Allen Denault. Amaris Nicole Farrell. Antonia Chantel Finney. Camilla Rochelle Flagg. Kirsten Dawn Fletcher. Kelsey Jewel Flores.
Jana Michelle Fox. Jace Allen Gambrill. Haley Brooke Hall. Joseph Anthony Hayden. Nicholas James Hicks. Zoe Marie Hogue. Cameron Elizabeth Horner. Madison Elizabeth Horner. Kyle Matthew Hubbard. McKinley Aaron Hudson. Alexa Renee Jones. Brian Lee Kellum. Michael Kennedy Close. Colton Thomas Lanham. Caitlin Renee Larger. Jada Paris Layfield. Michaela Renee Lee. Antoine Lamont Lewis Jr. Jacob Wayne Long. Kirsten Lynn Lovelace. Ashley Marie Markham. Brene Delina Marshall. Austin Lee Mason. Thomas Michael Miller. Riley Morgan Niblett. Yvette Lewis Pabon. Brittany Marie Palmer. Jessica Suzanne Patterson.
Theron Eldon Perez. Timothy Jordan Perez, Jr. Ethan Thomas Peterman. Joseph Christopher Pfeiffer. Corey Evan Phillips. Wesley Adam Price, Jr. Alana Jo Rager. Derek Colin Richardson. Madison Elizabeth Rittenhouse. Brandon Lee Robinson. Elizabeth Gale Runge. Elena Janae Sanders. Jacob Tyler Savage. Kaylee Lynn Scherner. Mariah Catrice Scott. Jacob Isaiah Shelton. Abigail Elizabeth Shockley. Carissa Amber Brene Shockley. Ethan Donald Smith. Nicholas Scott Smithhart. Jake Michael Taylor. Anye Lachey Thomas. Olivia Brianna Waters. Grace Riley White. Dylan Todd Williams. Melody Renee Faith Williams. Albert Charles David Woodward. Sarah Michelle Yannock. Angela Elizabeth Youngblood.
Good evening, parents, staff, members of the board, and most importantly, the class of 2020. I'd like to thank you all for being present to celebrate this milestone for the class of 2020. Years and years of hard work from each and every person in this room have led us to this moment, the moment we graduate from high school. It feels like a dream. Once in middle school, we all had to take pictures in yellow and green caps and gowns. We were all still little and the gowns kind of swallowed us, with only our faces peeking out. As we walked around the cafeteria stage, glad to be out of class, we talked about how weird the outfits were. Back then, these caps and gowns felt like costumes. It felt like we were playing dress up as they dragged the ground. Nora Ephron once said, "Your education is a dress rehearsal for the rest of your life, and that life is yours to lead." Now, 7 years later, we've all grown up and grown into the gowns that once felt so foreign. Our stories have come full circle, and we've prepared for this moment together for a while now, each year having its own landmark. Freshman year, we learned that we're responsible for our success. We have sole responsibility over the amount of effort we put into our lives. We learned to be independent and comfortable with who we are. Sophomore year, we learned that people change, and so will you, and it's okay. We learned that we have the strongest support system around us. The people in this room have our back and are always in our corner. We learned that it's okay to be alone. And junior year was the year with the biggest revelation. That was the year that we decided we weren't a fan of College Board and the many, many tests they sent our way. And finally, senior year. Senior year was the year when we realized these last 4 years that we spent counting down to this day have been the best of our lives. We learned lessons that we can never forget. We learned how fast time flies, how much we'll miss the people around us. We've looked back on the bonds that we've made, the families we've formed, and the home that we found within each other. As Michael Scott once said, tuition is valuable, but you know what's invaluable? Intuition. When I first sat down to write this speech, I didn't think it would be so hard, but I was wrong. Goodbyes are hard. Endings are hard. And acting like they're not hard is the toughest part. So, this isn't a goodbye. This is just a see you later. Because although we're all going our separate ways and carrying our own paths, we'll still carry these memories in our hearts. We've all grown in this life and will continue to grow and blossom, but we all have the same roots. It's these roots that matter. Being a warrior has been a privilege, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. Graduates, it's time. Please rise and join me in moving our tassels from the right side of our caps to our left. Congratulations, we did it.